I never imagined that a harmless dare could change my life forever. My name is Alex, and I've always been someone who loved experimenting with styles, fashion, and even the occasional bit of makeup. It started innocently enough, trying on my sister's clothes when she was away, playing with eyeliner and lipstick just to see how it felt. No one ever knew, not even Emma, my girlfriend of 2 years. But those small, secret indulgences hinted at something deeper I'd never fully explored. I live in a mid-sized city in a modest apartment, sharing it with Emma. The space is cozy but cluttered with the kind of personal touches that reflect our personalities. Framed photos on the walls, small potted plants in the corner, and a shelf of books that I never seemed to have time to read. The apartment feels safe, a cocoon where the outside world doesn't see my hidden quirks. That comfort is what makes today's events feel so risky. Emma has always been perceptive, smart, and playful. Our relationship is strong, but there's an unspoken boundary between the things I share and the things I keep to myself. She knows I enjoy fashion, but she doesn't know the full extent of my crossdressing. I've always feared that revealing my secret could change how she sees me, that she might not understand the thrill, the excitement, and sometimes even the comfort that comes with becoming someone else for a while. It all began on a Saturday morning, a day that was supposed to be ordinary. Emma was out with her friends, and I was lounging on the couch, scrolling through my phone when a notification popped up from my buddy Ryan. He was always full of wild ideas and challenges. "Bet you won't spend a whole day as a girl," the message read. My first reaction was amusement, and then a shiver of something I couldn't quite name. A day as a girl? On a dare? My mind raced through every possible scenario. The thrill, the embarrassment, the secrecy. Curiosity got the better of me. I texted back with a confident, "Watch me." My heart skipped a beat as I typed it, already feeling a strange mix of fear and excitement. I went to my bedroom, the plan forming in my mind. I had enough of my sister's old clothes tucked away in a corner of the closet, some makeup I'd experimented with in secret, and a few heels that had long been hidden under the bed. I could do this. I told myself it would be temporary, just a dare. Nothing permanent. As I laid out the outfit, a short, playful skirt, a tight top, and the pair of black heels, I felt a flutter of nervous anticipation. The fabric felt foreign against my skin, soft yet revealing. The heels seemed impossibly tall, making me sway slightly as I adjusted to the unfamiliar height. The mirror reflected a version of me I barely recognized, but there was something thrilling in that reflection. For the first time, Alex was gone, replaced by a persona that felt exciting, vulnerable, and powerful all at once. Applying the makeup was an intimate ritual. Foundation smoothed over my cheeks, eyeshadow highlighting the contours I didn't know existed, lipstick painting a bold statement on lips that suddenly felt different. Every brush stroke brought me closer to this new identity. My hands shook slightly, but not from fear. Excitement coursed through me. I was becoming the girl I had only dared to imagine in the privacy of my room. The clock ticked, and I realized the challenge had only just begun. With every step I took around the apartment, I tested the balance of the heels, the sway of the skirt, the subtle movements that made the character feel real. I spoke aloud in a softer, higher tone than my usual voice, listening to it echo in the apartment. It sounded strange but right, like a secret song only I knew. I texted Ryan a quick photo, my reflection staring back at me from the mirror. His reply was instant. "Looking perfect. Don't chicken out now." The excitement surged through me, but so did a gnawing fear. What if someone saw me like this? What if Emma returned early? What if I couldn't switch back as easily as I thought? That doubt lingered like a shadow, teasing me even as I reveled in the thrill of my new persona. By late morning, I realized I had crossed a line I hadn't expected. This wasn't just a dare anymore. It felt like an awakening. Being in the clothes, the makeup, the heels, it stirred something inside me I hadn't anticipated. I wasn't just pretending anymore. The persona I had created felt alive, almost demanding that I live in it, even if just for the day. Every movement, every glance in the mirror, Every adjustment of a wig or a skirt made the experience more real, more compelling. Little did I know what started as a harmless challenge would spiral into something much more complex. The day ahead would test my courage, my secrets, and my very sense of identity. I had no idea that by sunset, the line between who I was and who I was pretending to be would blur so completely that I wouldn't be able to turn back. As I left my apartment to walk to the nearby coffee shop, the world seemed different. Heads turned subtly as I passed, my heart racing with each glance. Some were curious, some indifferent, but all reminded me that stepping into this persona made me visible in ways I had never experienced. The thrill and fear coexisted, entwined tightly in my chest, promising a day that would change everything. By noon, I realized that pretending to be a girl for just one day was far more complicated than I had imagined. The experience was intoxicating, exciting, and terrifying all at once. I was about to discover that some dares, no matter how playful they seem, can leave permanent marks, especially when they awaken hidden desires and secrets that you never meant to share. And so, my day as a girl began, not just as a game, but as the first step into a world that might never let me go. The morning had already shifted into late afternoon, and Alex found himself fully immersed in the persona he had created. The skirt swayed perfectly with each step, the heels clicked confidently against the apartment floor, and the carefully applied makeup made his reflection look both familiar and foreign. He touched the soft curls of his wig, adjusting it slightly as if it could somehow hold the new identity together. But along with the thrill came the creeping anxiety. Emma could return at any moment. The thought of her walking in on him like this sent shivers down his spine. He imagined her raising an eyebrow, a small smirk forming on her lips, and yet, somewhere deep inside, a part of him wondered if she would be impressed or horrified. The uncertainty was a heady mixture of fear and excitement, and Alex realized that it made his heart race more than the dare itself ever could. Deciding to embrace the challenge fully, Alex started to explore the transformation in detail. The process wasn't just about clothing, it was about movement, expression, and presence. He practiced walking gracefully in the heels, feeling the shift in his posture, the subtle tightening of his core muscles, and the way his steps seemed to draw attention without a single word spoken. Every sway of his hips, every tilt of his head, made him feel more like the girl he was pretending to be, but also more like the Alex he hadn't fully known existed. Sitting in front of the mirror, Alex experimented with expressions. A slight smile could make him seem approachable, a coy glance gave a sense of mystery. Applying a bit of extra mascara, he noticed how his eyes seemed larger, more expressive. He laughed softly at the novelty, but there was an undeniable thrill in seeing how easily the transformation could manipulate perception. Internal conflict simmered beneath the surface. Part of him reveled in the secrecy and control, the power of stepping into a persona that could command attention and hide vulnerability. But another part felt the creeping shame, the fear that his identity might be discovered. He recalled the dare, the challenge he had agreed to, and realized that the fun of pretending had blurred into something more intoxicating. He didn't just want to succeed at the dare, he wanted to explore this version of himself. The suspense ratcheted up when a knock at the door startled him. His heart pounded, and for a split second, he froze. Could it be Emma? Was she back early? Or worse, a neighbor or delivery person who might see him like this? The anxiety was electric, making his palms sweat. Taking a deep breath, he reminded himself to stay calm. Slowly, he peeked through the peephole, just Ryan, grinning like he always did when he had another scheme in mind. "Looking amazing, Alex," Ryan exclaimed when the door opened. "I see you took the dare seriously." Alex laughed nervously, smoothing his skirt. Yeah, just for the day," he replied, though the words felt hollow even to him. Ryan's presence added another layer of tension. It wasn't just about Emma discovering him anymore. It was about performing, maintaining the illusion, and handling someone who knew the stakes. The two friends decided to take a short walk outside, adding another layer of suspense. Alex felt every glance from passers-by, every subtle turn of the head, as people noticed him. Some looked curious, some indifferent, but all reminded him how exposed he felt. The heels made every step deliberate, every movement intentional. He noticed the way the wind caught his skirt, the way light reflected off the glossy lipstick, and felt an exhilarating mix of vulnerability and empowerment. Returning home, Alex faced the next challenge: maintaining the persona alone. The apartment was empty, yet he felt watched, as if the walls themselves might betray him. He experimented further with makeup adjustments, wardrobe tweaks, and practiced different walks in front of the mirror. Each reflection was a test of control, identity, and secrecy. Hours passed, and the novelty of the day began to intertwine with deeper emotional realizations. Alex noticed how natural it felt to inhabit this version of himself, how freeing it was to explore femininity without judgment. Yet every thrill came with an undercurrent of fear. Fear of being discovered, fear of rejection, fear that the line between pretending and being would blur beyond repair. Dinner time approached, and the challenge escalated. Alex decided to prepare a meal while fully dressed. A mundane activity suddenly transformed into a high-stakes test of composure. The sizzle of vegetables in the pan, the chopping of ingredients, and the careful movements required in heels all heightened the sensory experience. Even the simple act of stirring a pot became a balancing act of poise and identity, a dance between who he was and who he appeared to be. By evening, Alex's excitement mingled with exhaustion. The physical demands of maintaining the persona were real: sore calves from heels, tightness from the skirt, and the subtle strain of holding posture for hours. Yet the emotional experience, the thrill of secrecy, the rush of attention, the intoxicating new identity, kept him moving forward. Each passing hour made the persona feel more real, more a part of him than he had ever expected. The suspense reached a breaking point when he heard keys in the lock. Emma was back early. Panic surged through him, sharp and immediate. He darted to the bedroom, searching for a way to conceal the evidence of his transformation. The heels slipped slightly on the wooden floor, and he caught himself on the edge of the dresser, his heart racing. The reflection in the mirror showed a girl poised and composed, yet beneath the surface, Alex's anxiety was raw and unfiltered. Emma's voice called from the hallway, cheerful and unsuspecting. "Alex? I'm home early. What are you up to?" The answer would define the next phase of the day, the collision of secret identity, fear, and exhilaration. Alex's mind raced, calculating options, imagining reactions, and weighing the risks. Every instinct screamed to hide, yet another voice inside whispered to embrace it, to step into the persona fully, even if just for a moment. The sound of Emma's footsteps echoed through the apartment, each one a drumbeat against Alex's racing heart. He froze, caught mid-adjustment of his wig, the heels clicking precariously against the wooden floor. Every muscle tensed, every thought screamed for a solution. Should he run? Should he hide? Should he try to appear casual as if nothing were unusual? Emma entered the living room, humming a tune, oblivious to the secret drama unfolding just feet away. Alex forced a smile, smoothing his skirt and trying to act natural. "Hey, didn't expect you back so early," he said, his voice slightly higher than usual, faltering in places. Emma glanced at him curiously. "You look different today. Are you trying something new?" Alex felt the sweat prickling at his hairline. His heart pounded, not just from fear of being caught, but from the realization that the persona he had crafted for fun was now dangerously close to being exposed. The earlier thrill of transformation mingled with sheer terror, each second stretching longer than the last. He decided to double down, embracing the persona fully rather than risk suspicion. "Yeah, just trying something fun," he said, his smile tentative but genuine. The words felt strange yet liberating as they left his lips. Emma moved closer, inspecting his outfit. "Wow, the skirt, the heels, even your hair. It's convincing." Her voice was soft, teasing, yet there was an undertone of curiosity that made Alex's pulse spike. Before he could respond, the unexpected happened. A knock at the door. Panic surged through him. Who could it be now? Alex realized that maintaining the illusion wasn't just about Emma. It was about anyone who could reveal him. "Alex, did you order something?" Emma called, raising an eyebrow. Alex shook his head, heart hammering. No, maybe a neighbor? The door opened to reveal Ryan, holding a small package. Delivery for Alex. Oh, wow. You look amazing, he said, eyes widening at the sight of Alex in full cross-dressing attire. The room froze, the tension palpable. Emma's gaze shifted between Alex and Ryan, suspicion flickering across her face. Alex felt the duality of the moment, exhilaration at being admired, terror at being discovered. Ryan's grin didn't help. You really committed to the dare, huh? I gotta say, you pull it off better than I imagined. Alex swallowed hard, forcing composure. Thanks. I guess it was more than I expected too. Emma's curiosity grew. So, this was a dare? She asked slowly, a mixture of disbelief and amusement in her tone. Alex nodded, barely able to maintain eye contact. Yeah, just for a day. The suspense heightened as Emma circled him, inspecting the details, the carefully applied makeup, the wig, the perfectly positioned skirt, and the heels that made every step deliberate. Alex could feel her judgment, but also a strange sense of intrigue. The fear was still there, but now mingled with something else: anticipation, curiosity, and perhaps admiration. Just as he thought the situation was under control, a sudden knock at the window startled him. Alex spun, heels slipping slightly on the floor. The moment was symbolic, the fragile balance of his two identities threatened by an external force. He rushed to close the blinds, heart racing, while Emma looked on with a mixture of confusion and amusement. Relax, Alex. It's probably just some late delivery guy, Emma said, trying to calm the tension. But Alex knew it was more than that. Every external gaze, every unexpected noise, amplified the internal drama. Ryan, oblivious to the rising tension, decided to push the envelope. Hey, Alex, you're kinda rocking this. Ever thought of, I don't know, taking it a step further? Alex's mind raced. He realized the thrill had evolved into something more dangerous, a test of identity, desire, and secrecy. He was no longer just pretending. The persona had taken a life of its own, demanding acknowledgement and performance. Emma finally spoke, her voice soft but firm. Alex, you look good. Really good. But are you okay? Alex paused, caught between the adrenaline of the performance and the vulnerability of confession. I don't know, he admitted, the words trembling. It started as a dare, but it feels real. Too real. The room fell into a tense silence. Ryan smirked, sensing the drama, while Emma's eyes softened, a mixture of concern and fascination. Alex realized he had crossed a line. The dare was no longer a game. He was trapped between two selves, both needing recognition, both at risk of exposure. As the evening progressed, the tension escalated further. Alex tried to move around the apartment, maintaining the persona while performing mundane tasks, pouring drinks, arranging snacks, even adjusting his heels. Each movement was a delicate dance, a balancing act of confidence and fear. The apartment, once a safe space, now felt like a stage where every action could betray him. Emma watched, intrigued and cautiously supportive. You've really transformed, she said softly. But are you happy like this? Alex's heart ached with the complexity of the answer. He was thrilled, embarrassed, empowered, and terrified all at once. I think I am, he admitted, realizing that the day had changed him in ways he hadn't anticipated. Suddenly, a phone notification startled him, Emma's message flashing on the screen. I'll be home late tonight. Enjoy yourself. Relief and panic collided. He was alone, free to explore further, but the stakes had never been higher. The persona was taking over, and Alex understood that the thrill, the fear, and the desire were now inseparable. He looked into the mirror, seeing the girl who had emerged from a dare, and realized that returning to his previous life would be far more complicated than he had imagined. The heels, the skirt, the makeup, they weren't just clothes or cosmetics. They were symbols of transformation, identity, and desire. The climax reached its peak when Alex accidentally knocked over a vase, the crash echoing through the apartment. He froze, heart racing, certain that Emma would appear at the door, catching him in a moment of vulnerability. But no one came. The tension was unbearable, yet exhilarating. He realized that the dare had evolved into a test of courage, identity, and emotional endurance. The apartment fell into a tense, almost surreal quiet. Alex stood in front of the mirror, fully dressed in the outfit he had carefully chosen earlier, heels clicking softly against the wooden floor. His reflection stared back at him, an image of a girl, confident yet trembling, vulnerable yet undeniably captivating. For the first time, he realized just how much this persona had taken over. He ran a trembling hand over his wig, smoothing it, trying to convince himself that this was just temporary, a dare, a joke, an experiment. But the truth gnawed at him. It wasn't temporary. Something inside him had shifted. He was no longer just pretending. The faint sound of the front door unlocking snapped him out of his reverie. Heart pounding, Alex froze, clutching the edge of the table for support. The doorknob turned, and Emma stepped in, humming softly, a bag of groceries in hand. "You're still here like this?" she asked, tilting her head, her expression a mix of amusement, curiosity, and something deeper, something Alex couldn't quite read. Alex swallowed hard, struggling to find words. I didn't expect you back so soon," he stammered, his voice cracking slightly under the weight of nerves. Emma set the groceries down, stepping closer, her eyes scanning him from head to toe. "You've really committed, haven't you?" Alex's mind raced. Should he explain? Apologize? Admit the full truth? Or stay silent and hope she didn't notice the deeper transformation, the one that went beyond clothes and makeup? Before he could respond, his phone buzzed loudly on the table. He glanced at it and froze. A message from an unknown number had popped up. The text was short but chilling. "Enjoying your new life?" Panic surged through him. He looked up at Emma, whose gaze had softened, but she noticed the sudden shift in his expression. "Alex, what is it?" He hesitated, unsure if he could reveal the text, unsure if he even wanted to. The thrill of secrecy, the fear of exposure, the excitement of transformation, it all collided inside him, making his chest feel impossibly tight. Emma took a careful step closer, her fingers brushing his hand. "You don't have to hide anything from me, you know. I just want to understand." Alex's heart ached. Part of him wanted to tell her everything, but another part, the part that had grown addicted to the thrill, the fear, the exhilaration of living as this new persona, clung desperately to secrecy. The sound of the front doorbell rang suddenly, sharp and insistent. Alex jumped, knocking over a small stool, which clattered loudly to the floor. Emma's eyes widened, and she moved toward the door cautiously. "Who could that be?" she murmured. Alex took a deep, shaky breath, realizing that in that moment, his two worlds, the one he had been living in secretly and the one everyone else saw, were colliding dangerously. Whoever was at the door could change everything, exposing him, forcing him to confront what he truly wanted, or perhaps pushing him further into this new life. Emma opened the door slowly, revealing nothing, just an empty hallway. But as she stepped back, a folded note slipped under the door, fluttering softly onto the floor. Alex bent down to pick it up, hands trembling. The note was short, written in bold, elegant handwriting. "You can't hide forever. Choose wisely." His heart skipped a beat. Every instinct screamed fear, excitement, and anticipation all at once. The message wasn't threatening, but it carried weight, an unspoken understanding that his life had irrevocably changed. Emma glanced at the note, then back at him. "Alex, what is this?" Alex looked down at his reflection in the mirror again, then back at Emma. He could feel the duality of his existence pressing in, the thrill of transformation, the danger of discovery, and the undeniable truth that things would never be the same. I guess," he began, voice trembling but steadying. "I don't know what's next." Emma reached out, touching his shoulder gently. "Well, whatever you decide, I'll be here. But maybe you need to face it sooner rather than later." Alex nodded, swallowing hard, feeling the weight of every choice he had made and every choice he would have to make. He glanced back at the mirror one last time, the girl staring at him with a mixture of confidence, curiosity, and defiance. The camera would cut to a close-up of the note on the floor, the words, "Choose wisely," stark and haunting. Alex's reflection lingered in the background, a visual reminder of the tension between who he was and who he had become.